Oh my god, you guys, guess who is an unhappy little camper right now? Me, because guess which orchid has both mites and snails? Yes, it is my Cycnodes Wine Delight. I just saw a snail on it this morning, and additionally I saw these nasty little shiny black bugs. They looked like very small drops of tar or something. They're very shiny and black. And now, having seen that there was a bush snail, which I flushed down the toilet, I don't know if that was the right thing to do, but I think they drown in there. Seeing that there was both this strange mites that I have never seen before and a bush snail, I am now forced to unpot this and sterilize it, spray it, and repot it. See, I'm allergic to bullshit, that's why I'm sneezing. So let's just go for it. I'm gonna take you guys a little bit closer, and you can just stare down my trash can where all my eggshells are. Okay. We're just going to go ahead and unpot this and look for more snails. Now, I am kind of upset about this because this is in spike. I don't want to lose the spike, but I want spiders in my collection, or I mean snails in my collection even less so. And if I see a snail, that is like immediate action is required. These little monsters are so awful and hard to get rid of if they can manage to establish themselves in your collection. Actually, at the orchid show I was at last time, I found a slug in this guy's Vanda that he had just gotten in from Hawaii. And when he started digging through, he's like, oh, there can't be a slug in here, there can't be a slug in here. No, I definitely saw it. But on the way to finding the slug, he found frog eggs in the Vanda. And I'm just like, oh my god, you know, this, can't believe frog eggs, that's ridiculous. But yes, so we've got a bush snail, that guy got frog eggs and a slug. It's not nice to have unwelcome guests in your orchids. It's a good thing I have enough sphagnum moss to repot this immediately, because otherwise I'd be really sad. So yeah, this is why you should always unpot stuff when you get it. I've been a little bit lax about unpotting things when I get them because I want to enjoy the blooms, but honestly, it is much better to miss out on one bloom cycle and not have pests than it is to have flowers now and then somehow get other little nasties into your collection, because that is just really awful. Yes, and I do have apparently some type of mites on my Dendrobium kingianum, which is upsetting because they're not on any of the orchids around it. They just suddenly appeared on it. And I have no idea where that's coming from, and I'm just thinking, oh god, what am I going to have to do to deal with this? And it's frustrating. Of course, Miss Orchid Girl Danny knows what it's like to deal with freaking spider mites in your collection, and I would hate to have to go through the same stuff she's dealing with that. But what's worse, I think, is absolutely the snails, because snails will go in and they love to eat the new growth, because the new growth is soft and moist and tasty, so they want to bite it off, and they'll bite off your new root tips, they'll put holes into your flower spikes, snails and slugs both. So if you see one, it's time to repot immediately that second. Additionally, this is why I quarantine my new orchids. I don't put them on the shelf with my established collection. I put them on a different shelf and keep them away. I don't share water sources between them until I'm sure that they don't have an illness, or I can use my best judgment to think that. And it doesn't always work, but it's really a good idea to kind of keep stuff separate until you know it doesn't have pests, because you don't want to lose the probably hundreds of dollars you have invested or more in your orchid collection. That said, most of you who have invested that much money in your orchid collection do know that what's at risk and do know to quarantine things. But those of you who are kind of new to it, of course, you'll have to hear it somewhere. Maybe it's from me. Okay, so now that the root system is cleared off, I am going to go wash the entire plant in the bathtub, and I think I'll use a little bit of soap on the leaves and really try to clean it, because I really hope I don't damage the flower spike. I have to be careful with that, but I'll come back in a minute. Okay guys, so here is the cleaned off plant. As you can see, I think I didn't even get the flower spike wet, but I wanted to be really careful. I took out every piece of media that I could find, and now because I saw mites as well as snails, I'm going to spray this plant down with a triple threat. It's insecticide, fungicide, and miticide spray. And it is made by a company called Fertilome. I used this on my Colmenar Wildcat because when I bought it a couple years ago, it was covered in tiny little earwigs. It was covered in baby earwigs. Like, is that gross or what? So I sprayed it with this, and when the earwigs walked through it, they like started seizing and writhing, and then they died. And that's not a nice way to die, but also stay the fuck off my plant. So yeah, and because I'm inside my home and I have nowhere to spray this that's outside, that's safer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the plant in a garbage bag so I don't get the spray all over my kitchen, and then I'm going to go ahead and spray the plant in here. And set it here, and I'm just going to let it dry off. Now, for those of you worried, this spray does have toxicity warnings on it. It's stuff like that, but also it says you can use up until the day of harvest for food crops. So although you probably don't want to eat this stuff or drink it or get it in your mouth, if you wash the plant off that's in question, it should be fine. So there's that. Yeah, let's just be super careful. I'm just going to give this another couple sprays so it gets in the crown of the plant, and we're going to go ahead and let this dry off. I'll take off my gloves. I'll wash my hands because I don't want to get this stuff in my mouth, and then we're going to repot. Woohoo! Guys, so here we've got our cleaned, disinfected plant. I've got some sphagnum moss that's already wet, and I have a new pot. Now because catasetums like to be really moist during their growth season and really dry during their dry season, I've only put a few holes in only the bottom of this pot because this plant wants to keep moisture around the roots. And this is my first catasetum, but I think I have a good enough understanding of orchids to know when to pot something in pure sphagnum moss and when not to. So let's just go ahead and do this, and I'm going to keep it over the plastic bag because again I did just spray this with an insecticide, fungicide, and miticidal spray. So yeah, so first thing, I'm just going to take some of the moss, I'm going to put it a little bit over the bottom of the pot because, you know, we always like to fill up the bottom so that we don't put the plant too deep in the pot. And also because this already has an established root system, and because I want to keep that root system nice, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap the roots around this sphagnum moss, and I'm just going to kind of envelop them so they have a firm ball of sphagnum moss around them, and so they don't really snap off and break while I'm trying to properly pot them. And so they have a nice, good coverage with the moss as well. I am going to stake this up just to be secure. So I've got my stick, and I'm going to be careful of the roots because this plant has been through enough trauma. So I'm going to put this down this far side of the pot back here. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this little clip right at the top so that the plant can be stable. And there's our repotted, drippy, peeing, de-snailed, de-mited orchid, and hopefully this flower spike will still grow for me. It will forgive me for disturbing it while it's still developing, and everything will go really well. I'm still going to try to record the development of the spike every day, so look forward to a video in a couple weeks once this is ready to bloom. Thanks for watching, guys. Be aware of snails. Happy growing. Bye!